roles do you think clinical trials kind of play? Clinical trials and pharmaceutical disclosures really as a whole play in like shaping the public's understanding about some of these risks.
Well, that's a real slippery slope. Before
Mhm.
I started Mist, and I eventually sued the drug company for hiding Akathisia, and I won in the lower court. Um, the I was under the impression, and this was my lack of awareness, I thought the FDA did the drug trials and then they approved it. What I found out subsequently was that the pharmaceutical companies do the drug trials. They submit it to the FDA for approval, but there's something called the revolving door policy where people from the FDA go to work for a pharmaceutical company and the pharmaceutical company goes to works for the FDA. And
Mhm.
so I would hope they'd be transparent. I would hope they would be diverse, and I hope they would report things in the drug trial. During the original Paxil drug trials, I believe 20 people ended their life by and 40 more became akathasic, and they didn't report it. So I'm a little leery about drug trials. Yes, don't get me wrong, medications save lives. I get that, but I don't always know how in depth, I should say, the process is. How many, when I was in Washington, D.C. once learning about drug trials, not all of them are diverse. Not all of them
Mhm.
have different ages. And so it's it's kind of hard. I mean, there's a lot of leap of faith here that the drug trials are working out. And then the second thing is I feel very much the doctors are very much the victims too.
Mhm.
Doctors receive something called the Dear Doctor letter. And, in the case of Paxil, they were advertising it as the next best thing for sliced white bread for anxiety. Turned out there was an 800% increase in. So the doctors, they don't do the drug trials. So in many ways, I think that the doctors are as misinformed as consumers.
Yeah, and it's interesting how, you know, many different people we've seen at different conferences. I mean, I know I've only been to 2 conferences now, but I know you've been to many, but just hearing different healthcare professionals come up to us and say, "I didn't know this, I didn't know that," um, and a lot of them not even knowing about akathisia, or maybe they heard the word, but they didn't really know exactly what it means, or like Christina pointed out, before, they might get it confused with tardive dyskinesia. So it's definitely just about kind of spreading the word and getting the awareness out and whatnot. So yeah, and so we have been to many different conferences. How has the conference feedback kind of changed over the years?
I think the conference feedback has changed because we're getting more and more sophisticated. Our
Hmm.
booth is just incredible now with so much information. But I think what we've all tried to do now is we're shifting how we talk to people when they come up to the booth. And I'll say to them, have you seen the commercials on TV? Do you see when it says may give you thoughts? And I said, what it is akathisia. In fact, as you know, our new campaign is let's call it what it is. So when you look on TV now, I mean, just any night, all these medications, thoughts, it's akathisia. They just don't want to say that. And I think that that has really hooked people in because they will say, you're right. And then they share more and more people share their stories. And I think that's been a big shift.